Grilling for the Bamma of the year already. We're on barely the first week. We're barely the first week of January, and we are a Bamma of the year candidate.
7 days into the year, and here we are already.
Yes, Antonio Brown, that same guy who had antics in Pittsburgh, shenanigans in Oakland, craziness in New England, and now just stupefying Bammaness in Tampa. I mean, the dude, look, we all seen what happened, so I'm not going to regurgitate what happened, but let's put it this way. I know apparently, like, Bruce Arians, the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, how this whole thing like precipitated, it's like started was that he was trying to get Brown to go into the game because apparently Antonio Brown has some incentives that he was this close to hitting. $1 million worth of incentives, like I think it's $333,000 for like he hits a certain amount of receiving yardage, another $333,000 if he would have made a certain catch threshold, and a couple other things, one more $333,000. I think it was maybe touchdowns. I don't remember. But all of these were within reach, and he could have achieved in this game, which is probably why Coach Arians is trying to get him back in the game, because Antonio Brown was dealing with ankle injuries, and he didn't practice all week. He did play the first 2 quarters, right? And so he was like, apparently he was like telling him to go in twice, and then Brown refused. So basically, your boss actually get back in the game so you could possibly get you incentives. And he's told the man no twice. And then Bruce told him to get out. And so basically, it took this out. Bruce Arians told Fox Sports about Brown taking off his equipment. This is a quote, never seen anything like that in all my years. And so to those Antonio AB apologists out there who said, well, you should go back in when you're having an injury, blah, 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 blah. This is, okay, I don't know how much this is true, where he was asked, Coach Arians again, speaking of all that, if Brown's ankle may have played a role in his refusal to play. He was officially, because he was officially listed as questionable before the game started because he had practiced all week, but he played the first 2 quarters. And Arians said, quote, no. He didn't think that his ankle played a role in refusal. Again, I don't know. I don't know Antonio Brown's pain threshold, but I know this. If the coach wants to get you back in the game so you can hit your incentives, and if you got Tom Brady toting you the rock who went to bat for him several times over, come on. But there's one more component, speaking of Brady. Apparently, Antonio Brown went to Tom Brady and said, and noticed that Gronkowski was starting to get a lot of receptions in the game. Apparently, Antonio Brown went to Tom Brady, is like, oh, so Gronk's your boy now, huh? And they said it in the hissy fit. Now, anyone knows anything about Tom Brady is this. He's a lot like Peyton in the sense that he doesn't necessarily play favorites in terms of who gets the rock. It's about matchups. Who has a favorable matchup? Who has favorable coverage? Who's getting more of the coverage roll to his side? So he's going to go who has the better chance, right? He makes it. Tom Brady's a GOAT for a reason. He makes the reads almost right away when he lines up, when they line his team up. So he knows almost right away who he's going to go to. And there's an actual short on ESPN where ESPN now has ESPN stories where he showed him when he went to give a fake handoff on a play action to Leonard Fournette, he just quickly says, cover 2, and goes back. So he knows from the snap what the defense is in. He has the damn answer key to every test he's taken in this, 20+ year career, to the point where dude just casually gets the hike, goes to do the play fake, the left leg goes, cover 2. Boom. Because he knows they're in cover 2. So he knows where he's going to go with the football when you line up. You can't really fool this guy anymore. So
No.
I say all that to say this.
Oh, for someone who's been in the league that long, no, you shouldn't be able to fool them at that point.
So to me,
Yeah.
and I know there's some reports about some playoff teams looking to bring in Antonio Brown who showed some interest. I'm like, why? Why go through the headache? Because you know you've seen this story 4 times now.
We've seen this movie before.
4 times. Again, Pittsburgh, he acted a damn fool in Pittsburgh. He acted a bigger fool in Oakland. He was stupid in New England, and now he's just sort of fireable in Tampa. 4.
Yeah.
2 were well-respected organizations in Pittsburgh and New England. 4 times you're seeing this story. Why mess with this dude? Why screw around this dude anymore? I mean, come on. You can't be serious. You cannot be serious.
I wouldn't touch this dude. I'm gonna do my nice version of I wouldn't touch this dude with a 10-foot pole, right? Mm-hmm. Now you talk about the 2 organizations in Pittsburgh and New England being the respectable organizations, and Tampa, based upon their current makeup, is starting to become one of those organizations as well. Mm-hmm. But to your earlier point in terms of the incentives that Antonio was about to achieve, he needed 8 more catches to unlock, the 333 bonus. Right. He needed 55 receiving yards to unlock another 333 bonus, and then he just needed 1 receiving touchdown.
Oh, just one. Okay.
Just 1 receiving touchdown to unlock that third 33 and a third bonus as well, right? Mm-hmm. To your point of other teams being interested in this dude, just like you said before, it's a horror movie that we've seen before. We know that Fred Krueger is going to come back to kill someone who has lived on Elm Street. We know this already. Mm-hmm. Why are you moving to Elm Street? It makes no sense to me. If you know a bunch of people who have lived on Elm Street die,
right?
Or if you're people who live in the same town as Michael Myers and has had issues with his family, why are you moving to said town? I wouldn't do these things. There's just certain things I just don't do. Right. Call me whatever you want. I don't care. I'm still here. Same thing with AB. Why are you getting yourself involved in that situation? Now, with you being a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, I would say that you would have more of a closeness to the AB situation than I would.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Because of course one of the things that people brought up was his hit involving Fontez Burfict.
Yeah.
And whether or not he may be dealing with CTE because of said hit.
Yeah.
Now, I've seen various posts about the signs of CTE, and of course, a lot of his actions reflect that. The negative thing, though, with AB, unfortunately, is he's been exhibiting these things before said hit. So we had that history with him, even before he became a Pittsburgh Steeler. His time in college, which led to him transferring, and some of the issues that he got into collegiately, we know that he's a malcontent.
Right. Who happens to play really well.
Who just happens to play football extremely well.
Yeah.
It just happens to be that he's been expressing himself in a negative fashion, more so, in my opinion, since that hit. Now, I'm not a doctor. I can't, diagnose whether or not he has CTE or not. All I know is that this stuff is getting worse.
Yeah.
And as a GM or an owner, I don't know if I want to get involved in that situation.
Right.
Now, it's unfortunate that he lost out on said money. And it's interesting, right? You talk about his ankle injury. Someone sent out a post. I don't know the validity of these comments, but they're saying that NFL reporters said these things leading up to and game day as well. that these were actual facts, and you actually brought up a couple of those things, right? Said that several weeks into the season, he was on the injured list dealing with his ankle injury, right?
Right.
Something that we know. Also, leading up to Sunday's game, he missed 2 practices because he felt as though he was not 100%, right? During the game, he told Bruce Arians that he had concerns about his health while Bruce was telling him to get back into the game and play, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is something that you just said, right? These are all things that this dude is reporting, right?
Right.
And then, of course, it goes to the tirade. And then, of course, the tantrum. Well, there's also the alleged tantrum that Bruce Arians went into when AB told him that he wasn't going to the game, right? Mm-hmm. I had a conversation with a smart brother that I've known for years. He's oddly enough one of your frat brothers. I'm not going to say that he's smart because he's an alpha, but I'm just saying.
He would like that.
he would love that, but he's also been smart before he was an alpha. So,
sure. Yeah.
One of the things he pointed out to me, and after I pointed out that list of bullet points, was, dude, if you were actually hurt, then why suit up? Why even if you were complaining about these injuries leading up to the game on Sunday, why even make yourself available?
Yeah. I appreciate him trying to be a gamer per se, but yeah, you made a valid point. If you're that hurt, why suit up?
If you're that hurt, why suit up? Because, I mean, he probably didn't realize that he was going to eventually have this outburst. But if he was to have this outburst saying that he didn't want to play leading up to the game, he probably would receive a little bit more sympathy because of it.
Right.
Because people would have been like, oh my God, AB's actually concerned about his health and doesn't want to play. But yet his coaches are forcing him to play.
Yeah.
Don't know if it necessarily played out that way, but if he would have done that, that's the way it would have been perceived. And you don't suit up. But Bamma, you suited up.
Exactly. That part. You suited up.
Which means that, dude, you're available to play. And then you hear the stories of him complaining to Tom about him throwing the ball to Grant Moore. That's another sign that, dude, you want to play. So which one is it? If the stories are true, do you want to play or are you hurt? I don't know which one to believe, right? Because, as the saying goes, it's their story, your story, and the truth. I don't know if we'll ever get to the truth because, of course, it's so easy to dismiss him as being crazy. Sadly, because he has a past.
And a pattern. At least 4 years worth of professional on the professional level. You mentioned all that he's going through before that.
Exactly, right? And then even like I said before, like you just said, even before, as much as people want to blame the Vontaze Burfict hit, he still had a pattern before that.
Right.
So it's hard to say what it is, what it isn't. And as of right now, I'm going to say it could be CTE. So I'm a little concerned about that.
Sure.
But bro, you also got a pattern too.
Yeah.
So
he shows his ass a lot.
With this whole, he does way too much. Way too much. You come out with a single the day of the event. I mean, you don't have a ride back to where you need to get to because you wilding out. Oh my God, this whole thing is just a huge mess. And at best, all I can do is sympathize with whatever pain he potentially may be going through. But at the same time, if I'm an NFL exec, I'm not even thinking about bringing AB back. And then that's the other thing too. There are a lot of people who want to bring up and God, I hate that this has to be a part of the conversation too. The whole why is it that AB gets these opportunities and Colin Kaepernick doesn't? You also got to look at it like this, right? AB was coming in as the 4th or 5th wideout option in that situation.
Right.
We're not saying the same thing about Colin Kaepernick. So I'm not even going to have that conversation with anyone who's attempting to make this a conspiracy theory about Colin Kaepernick.
I can't believe people, because to me, as sad as I was when that first went down with him, I'm like, that's a dead ass horse now.
It is.
It's a dead ass horse.
It's dead. It's decaying. You see its skeletal remains at this point, and you're still kicking it. Let it be.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
And then my biggest thing is this, and I've said it on this show before. The owners that own these organizations, it's their team. If they want to continue to spite their nose, they will cut off their nose and spite their face by saying that, they don't believe that Colin Kaepernick is good enough to have on their team, so be it.
Right.
Just because you're good enough to perform for someone doesn't mean that you're going to get the job. I don't know about you, Scott, but I've been overlooked by lesser talented Bammas in my lifetime while trying to get jobs.
That's another podcast in and of itself. But
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it is what it is. And all I do is sit back and I just watch as those organizations do what they do, because they didn't come to a better talent in my eyes. Same thing with Colin Kaepernick. A lot of these teams who a lot of people believe he's a better quarterback than, all them teams are trash right now.
Right.
So it's on them. That's what they want. That's what they're getting.
Correct.
And it is what it is. So I don't even want to have that conversation about that no more. But my thing is, I hope he gets the help that he needs, if he needs help. But if I'm an exec, I'm not touching that dude at all.
Yeah, bro. I mean,
to paraphrase Snoop Dogg, not with my penis.
Wrap it up if you are. But anyway, I'll say this, man. Look, I think I speak for you and most cats out there.